friends, and welcome back to Daggerfall. I'm Lady Lilia, and I think I got all my mods set up the way I want to actually play the game. So I thought I would share that with you guys, and it's really very simple. It's not complicated at all. I did a lot of experimenting with some of the different mods, and I'm still undecided on a couple of them, which I will explain, and I'll show you guys everything I have installed. One of the main things I decided to think about was the fact that I didn't want the game to break, and the game is very unstable at this moment, being an alpha, and mods make it even more unstable. So the mods I wanted to install... Ooh, that's nice. The mods I wanted to install are pretty light. So you will not like this setup if you wanted to go for the really modded, you know, gorgeous, updated, heavy texture 3D look that the Dream mod provides. This is not that. This is more of a retro vanilla look, but with elements of immersion, so the game is darker and hopefully the lighting lends itself well. But I will, in the description below, I will have everything linked that I have installed and the stuff I'm debating about, so you can mess around with it if you wish. But the main thing, really, graphics-wise, that I kept around from the previous video when I was messing around with all the graphics mods was the sky, enhanced sky, and I enabled the sun glare, which is what that is. It looks pretty cool, actually. It's pretty neat. One thing that I did, though, was I turned the quality down on the sky so that it kind of matches a little bit better with the pixely style of Daggerfall. I also kept the birds of Daggerfall, and I installed a mod called Distant Terrain, which is really gorgeous. I'm gonna see if I can go drive? I'm driving! Whoop, whoop. Actually, I can drive my horse. There we go. What does a cart look like? Oh, it just changes the sound. Oh, I didn't even know that you could do that. Huh. Alright, let me see if I can get to a vantage point where I can see the distant terrain here over here. This looks like it'll work. So this mod just obviously does what it says. It adds distant terrain and makes the distant hillsides and mountainscapes look beautiful. So you can see far off into the distance over there, right there between the land and the sky. You can see the distant terrain. This isn't the greatest view of it, but it works for all kinds of landscapes. And gosh, the enhanced sky mod is pretty cool. I'm glad I kept that. But yeah, that's it. And then I tweaked the light settings in Daggerfall Unity to be darker, just like I had done previously. I have the player torch on, and one of the mods that I'm debating upon using is the I think it's called Enhanced Lights or something like that, but it basically overhauls the lighting system. And I'm going to show you guys what it looks like with it and without it in this dungeon, and show you why I'm kind of like on the fence about it. Where did the dungeon go? Where? Dungeon? Dungeon! It's not really a dungeon, it's just a cemetery, but I was using, here it is. I was using it as a comparison because it's, you know, nice. Now it's becoming daytime, so we can see the light as well. Hello, ghostly moan shivers nearby. The entrance to this tomb is pretty cool. I like it. Alright, so I was testing at night because the night lighting is the most important thing to me, apparently. Because there's not a lot of shadows that are very noticeable during the day. So, you know. Alright, so. Hi, Mr. Rat. How you doing? How you doing? Right, so first thing you might notice, dungeon is very dark, right? It's very dark. And that's obviously intended. But I do have the player-based lighting turned on in Unity, so you can also alter the amount of light that the player-based lighting provides. I have it at about medium. I think it's about 0.7, oops, out of 1, you know, like, so 70%. And I'm gonna turn it off again though, because I wanna show you guys what it looks like without the lighting mod. It's very dark, but when you find a light source, I think the light source looks really nice. And I don't know how realistic it is, like, you know, in the terms of how much light it's providing or whatever, but it makes the it makes when you turn your actual player torch on, it creates like a lot of really nice dark thick shadows, and for some reason I really like the not perfect shadows. I turned the shadows resolution like all the way down to low because I wanted to match the kind of pixelated look of the game itself. I thought it seemed kind of weird when the shadows were all smooth and more realistic looking. I didn't like that as much, so I'm trying to get that look going. It works really well when you have your player base torch lit and you're fighting like a skeleton or a big monster and they have that nice black shadow silhouette behind them. I really like that look a lot. How many items would you like to pick up? What? Wait, oh right, gold weighs stuff in this game. Totally forgot about that. We can equip that. Let's just remove some of this baloney that we don't need here. Alright, there we go. So what I'm going to do is show you guys this dungeon really quick without the mod installed, and then I will install it and show you what it looks like with the mod installed. Come out of the door. Alright, so just notice how the shadows look, okay? Like on this door when it opens and closes. The shadows look pretty nice. They're simple and blocky like I want them to be. That's it, because I think it just matches the game. And I know not everyone is going to have this preference, but I really feel like if you're keeping the pixelated style of Daggerfall like it used to be, these kind of blocky shadows really work a lot better than the nicely rendered high resolution shadows. Okay, so that's the entirety of the dungeon. Let me turn my light off again real quick. Alright, so all the light, it's very dark except for where the light sources are, and then where the light sources are, the shadows are very dark, blocky, and they move smoothly though, and they don't split up too much. They look pretty nice generally. And you can tweak the darkness if you want. If this is too dark for you without a torch, then you can turn the dungeon light back up, but I have it very low because I want the lights to do all of the lighting, and I want to be able to need my torch when I'm in dungeons, you know? I might even turn the torch radius down a little bit eventually just to mess around with it, but I like the idea of relying on the torch to see and relying on the light sources to see. Okay, so now that you've seen what it looks like without the mod, I'll just do a quick save. That should be good enough. I'll be right back after I have this mod installed. So the mod that I'm turning on and debating on using or not is called Improved Interior Lighting. So if we enable this mod, there's a lot of settings. The color, actually, by default, it's very orange. Shut up, Daggerfall, you're so loud. It's very orange, and I didn't like how warm it was. I changed it to white to mimic the lighting that the Daggerfall Unity actually comes with normally, because I prefer that more than a warm light. I kept the fireplace light to be a little bit orange, because to create some kind of a cozy, warm feeling. The one thing that this mod does really well is the light flickering. It is very much improved over the original Daggerfall light flickering. But I don't really care for the rest of it, and I'll show you why. It's not that I don't care for it. I do like it, but it's just different, and I'm not sure that it fits well. Really not. Okay, so here we are with the mod installed. And I do not have my torch equipped. So it's already a lot brighter in here, which is not a problem, but the one thing that kind of bugs me is how there's like, I don't know, the shadows are split in such a way that it might make sense realistically, but I don't know, it kind of looks messy to me. And, but it looks pretty nice. The lights create a much more of a glow around them, and they reach a farther radius. They light things up better, so you can really get away with cranking down the brightness of the dungeon a lot. But there's some things that are like way too bright, like this is a good example. There's a lot of skulls right here, and it comes across as kind of weird. I don't have my torch on either, so this is just these skulls lighting this up. And also there's no shadows behind the coffin. There's just like the interior of it is extremely dark, and you can't even see the zombie. So that was like, you know, one thing I didn't really like. But it creates some good lights, and it looks really good in town too. But like in the dungeons, I really prefer the normal way, and like it just kind of makes it, I don't know, you know what I mean? The lights are very realistic in a sense, but sometimes they're not. So maybe this is a mod that will be improved upon later on when Daggerfall Unity is actually released, and I could definitely see it being an absolutely essential mod then when all of these little things are fixed. But those problems, I think, bother me more than, you know, more than whatever problems a normal game would have. One thing that works well, though, with this mod, and that I thought was really pretty, was when you go into its city. So let me travel to... let's go to Aldingwall. We want to get there at night. Damn it. Dagnabbit. Okay, we'll just rent a room at an inn. And, oh, hey, guard. Rent a room at an inn and then stay the night really quick. There's one. Alright, hi. You're not the innkeeper. You're the innkeeper. Give me a room for... oh, sure, whatever. I meant to type 3, but, you know. Okay, let's rest for a while until... nighttime. Okay, you might notice also the bottom right corner of the screen, I now have a clock above the compass, which is another mod that I will show you. Very simple little mod. You can install that. Linked in the description below. There's a lot of options also. So there's a lot of different ways you can make it look, which I thought was pretty cool. Okay, so I really like the way the mod looks when you're in towns. It looks nice, and I like how the street lamps look a little bit better than the normal game. But again, we're gonna compare. So this is with the mod on. Alright, and this is with the mod off. I guess it's really not that different in this town, it doesn't look like. But I don't know. There's also the argument of the less mods the better, because, you know, the less likely you are to break your game if you have less mods. So yeah, I don't know. I really like that mod, but there's some things that kind of bug me about it that kind of makes me just lean towards using no lighting mod. So that was my main dilemma, I guess. And another thing that I installed is... let's see if I can find an example in here. I don't even know if I can. Oh, boobies, of course. Had to have some of those in this episode. The mod, actually, it fixes the detail on certain NPCs' faces and, well, their entire bodies, actually. Some of the sprites that were upscaled in Daggerfall, like, they were upscaled poorly, and this guy fixes a few of the like, static NPCs that stand around. It's not a big mod or anything, it just fixes some of their faces and, like, weird pixels that are misplaced and stuff. So that's not a big one. Another one I installed was to fix the ghosts the vengeance ghosts, because apparently the Unity engine can't really render those ghosts properly to make them look spooky like they're supposed to look in the original Daggerfall, and this mod corrects that issue. So that's another small one that I thought was important. And the other one that I was just debating on was the music one. But other than that, mostly this look that I've captured is just from Daggerfall Unity and tweaking the settings. And I'll show you guys what settings I have set to make it look like this. And I just like to point out, there are quite a few mods available for Daggerfall Unity, but there aren't a lot yet that are going to, you know, add a ton to your game without breaking it. So just be careful. Like, I'm opting for a very lightly modded version of Daggerfall Unity, and that looks nice right there. And I really like how the game looks in itself, but I do think the enhanced sky adds a lot to the game. It's beautiful, especially when you turn the pixels down a little bit to get it to match a little bit better with the world. And there's just a slider in the settings where you could just turn it down. You can turn it down as much as you want. It's really nice that that's in there. Oh, I also messed a little bit around a little bit with the retro rendering textures, or resolution, that is, which you can turn on to make the game look just like it did in, you know, DOS. But you can't use mods like the Enhanced Sky with that, so keep that in mind. But if you really want to go for the really, really pixelated look and the retro rendering resolution look, turn that on. It's in the Unity settings, but like I said, you can't use the Sky mod with that. There's probably other limitations as well that I didn't test out. But I think this looks fine. This is like an upgraded version of Daggerfall, but it's still Daggerfall. You know what I mean? It's still clunky, clunky, square, choppy, pixelated, and beautiful. Beautiful. And I think the shadows add a lot. The light adds a lot. The darkness adds a lot. I love that we can tweak the darkness. And it's just really nice. Okay, let me show you the important settings that I changed in standard Daggerfall Unity to get the darkness look. You guys pretty much saw me do it in the first couple of videos when I was tweaking things, but I'll just go over it again here. These are my gameplay settings. Pause the video, copy them if you want. The interface settings, this is what I have. Enhancements. The most important thing here that I was talking about is the ambient light. So I have dungeon ambient light at 0.2, night ambient light at 0.3, player torchlight at 0.7. I'm probably going to tweak the torchlight. I might try putting it down to 5. I'll do that now, why not? Here's the rest of my settings. The shadow resolution is what I was talking about. You can, if you like the more smooth looking shadows, turn it up higher, but I like the low shadows a lot. I also turned the quality level down a little bit, just because I don't want things really rounded. I want to keep the, like, you know, the pixely look a little bit more, so I don't want the textures to be super glorious. But again, do whatever you want with that. This actually is more for the textures, I believe. I don't know. I think I've had this on the same one the whole time, so I'm not sure. I'll try it on points, I guess. But, you know, mess around with these and see what you like the best. Retro rendering mode is the thing I was talking about, where if you really want the game to look like it did in DOS, turn this on. You will immediately see what I mean. It makes the whole world render in very low resolution. 640 by 400 is the maximum, but the UI is still the same. So the effect you get is really cool, and this would be the mode you would definitely want to use if you just want to go for like 100% retro Daggerfall look. Definitely go with that. But like I said, you cannot use certain mods with that. One of them being the Enhanced Sky mod. So the mods that I have installed are not very many. Birds in Daggerfall, Convenient clock. This is the one that was put the compass or the clock above the compass on the bottom right. That has a lot of settings. There's a bunch of different ones. I go to the link below in the description to look at what it all looks like. And you can even change the border colors and do a 12-hour clock if you want. It's pretty nice. Distant terrain. I didn't bother messing with any of these settings because I thought it looked really nice anyway. But this mod is really nice. I definitely recommend this mod. There's also a mod called Mountains and Ranges or something like that too that's very similar. But the distant terrain that's not physical land that's like behind the mountains looks better with this mod in my opinion. So I chose this one, but definitely check out that other one if you like that better. I don't think you should use both of them though. Keep that in mind, but I could be wrong. Enhanced Sky obviously is like the greatest thing. It's so beautiful. I have the cloud quality down about half right now, and I enabled the sun flare. The sun flare is not enabled by default, so if you want that on, make sure you turn it on. Persistent dungeons is not a graphical thing, but what this mod does is make it so you can, you know, kill stuff and loot stuff in a dungeon and then run outside the dungeon, go back in, and it will have saved. So in normal Daggerfall, when you exit a dungeon, it resets again, and none of your progress is saved. The only thing of note is that if you teleport out of a dungeon and back into it, it does not save it. So that's just like a work in progress kind of a thing. They haven't figured out how to do that yet, I guess. But in my experience, I never do that anyway. I always like recall to the start of the dungeon. So it's probably, I think that's what most people do. It's probably not going to be a problem. But yeah, that's that. That's a good one. I also installed one that is not actually a mod pack, so it's not on here. I will go show you that now as well. It is called Worm Ashes Dangerous Dungeon Exteriors. And what this mod aims to do is put stuff around the exterior of dungeons to give it life, a meaning to explore, which seems really cool. I haven't actually played enough to experience it working, I don't think. But it does some things like you might find a group of bandits and treasure. Maybe you're even being followed. It just basically selects a random dungeon and then puts stuff outside of it. So it's not outside of every dungeon, but hopefully it's meant to encourage the exploration outside of dungeons a little bit, which I think is cool. It's like, why not have that in your game? That's what I figure. Unless it's going to break stuff, but hopefully not. Hopefully that's not the case. But that is always a possibility when you're installing mods. That's it, really. All of these mods are linked here in the released mods page. There's a lot of other things to pick from if you want to add a little bit more. But like I said, I really wanted to keep it simple and more like original Daggerfall, but with a little bit of immersion. And I think there's going to be a lot more really cool immersive mods that we will be able to add in the future. But for now, mainly the ones that are stable that exist are mostly, you know, cosmetic, and some of them are not cosmetic, but they're a little bit more risky to install. Like Villager Immersion Overhaul, I think is a super cool idea. Very cool, and I was very tempted to get this one, but because I had some crashes just installing the graphical mods, I decided to wait on this one. But I think it's really cool. It makes the villagers like match where they actually live, and it's pretty nice. There's a lot of stuff. Like if you want to give any of these a try, just please do. But you know, back up your saves and be careful. And if you want to mod the game like me, then just copy what I did, and basically it's very simple. These are all the mods. I just copied the packs in here. The only thing that is not in the Stream Assets mods folder was the, what the heck is it called? The one that I just talked about. Dangerous Dungeon Exteriors. That one was actually a quest. So there was some files to copy into Streaming Assets Quest and to copy into Quest Packs, this one. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy your time in Daggerfall. I will be back next time with some actual gameplay in the next video, now that I have my mods set up how I want them for now. I am going to dabble around in the actual game and test things out, make sure it's not super broken, and I will be making a new character. So that should be exciting. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you very soon in another video. Bye-bye, friends. Bye-bye.